Let's set an intention that this Thanksgiving, I enjoy the meal, I enjoy the time with my family, and I don't swing in either direction. I don't swing into the fuck it's and I don't swing into the restriction. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, the podcast where we debunk the eat less, move more, shrink more mentality and focus on what really matters, which includes your relationship with your body, food, self-worth, and the behaviors that align with all of those. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. At the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a conversation about that. Before we get into today's episode, I want to make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you don't want to miss any content that's being dropped, make sure you hit that notification bell as well. I also want to know who are the people you want to hear from on this show and what topics would you like me to continue to cover. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now, let's get into the episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. I'm so excited that you took out this time for yourself to learn about your physical and mental health. You should feel really freaking good about that today. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to eat a balanced Thanksgiving meal. Now, today is not just about the meal, but it's going to be talking about how to lead up to it, how to sit down and enjoy yourself, how to deal with leftovers, and then how to deal with the fact that you're basically on a weekend for 4 days. And for a lot of you, weekends are your downfall. So this extended weekend, and let's be honest, it starts on Wednesday, right? So 5 days really. This extended weekend can be the start to your kind of fuck it mentality over the holidays. So this is incredibly important, especially if you struggle on the weekends or you struggle when you can't hit things perfectly. You have that perfectionistic mindset when it comes to diet and exercise, because that perfectionistic mindset is what leads people to the fuck it's. What do I mean by that? Well, if you haven't listened to this podcast, well, welcome. I hope that you are following us wherever you're listening to this or subscribing to this channel on YouTube, which you see I keep messing with the setup. I like the desk. I think the desk works for me. So anyway, why do we end up binging? Well, we get into this rigid idea of what things need to be. And oftentimes they are rigid. It's one way. And this pattern is what affects most of my clients. I'm working with a client right now who thinks when she's eating good, it's very bland, it's very boring, and she eats really low calorie, even though then she binges later, and she doesn't understand why. And I'm like, because of these rigid rules that you have, you're going to just end up binging later. Why don't we start incorporating, and this is what we're working on this week, like having treats throughout the week, rather than, oh, I'm still snacking at night. It's like, well, maybe you just have a little snack at lunch, right? So leading up to Thanksgiving, we've already kind of talked about the boundaries to have and not necessarily like restricting food. So I'm going to reiterate that, but then we're going to talk about the meal and the day itself. And then of course, the days afterwards. So let's set the tone. Obviously, this comes 3 days before the meal itself. So if you're already in this starvation mode, let's get out of it, okay? If you are already looking at your week and you're terrified of Thanksgiving dinner, well, obviously there's some mental health things we need to work on there. However, if you're like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to overdo it, so I'm going to undereat for the rest of the week and starting today. And I want to explain that mentality that I have no control on Thanksgiving, so I'm going to restrict my food as a way to control that is not real control, my dear. That is a false sense of control and confidence. So just to start, we want to eat normally. We want to eat normally through the day, protein-rich breakfast, right? Getting in maybe a smoothie, some eggs. Today I had pancakes with chocolate chips, protein pancakes with chocolate chips, some egg whites with cheese, butter, maple syrup. It was delicious, right? Having that balanced lunch, balanced dinner, having your snacks as you would have them. Now, if you're in a calorie deficit through the holidays, yes, there is going to be some compromise, but I want you to realize, like, if you follow what I'm talking about today, like, you don't need to change much. You're going to add things rather than take things away. So if we're already in this mode of I need to restrict, I need to have this huge calorie bank for Thanksgiving meal and the days thereafter, then we're already starting off wrong. Okay? We're already starting off wrong. So we need to continue to eat in a balanced way. So if you are listening and you're looking at your celery thinking, this is so not delicious, put it away. Go eat what you normally would eat. We don't need to starve ourselves. Now, I don't know about you, but here in Arizona, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is a free-for-all. It is the number one drinking day in the year because mostly everyone is off on Thanksgiving. So everyone, all the people are coming home, or all of your friends go out. Here in Scottsdale. We have a place called the Coach House. It's incredibly busy on Thanksgiving. And this is kind of the ribbon cutting to the drinking and eating binge that will thus continue until January 1. Right? And listen, I love a good time, right? I love a good time. Since when my dad passed, I did kind of start consuming again because I was on my soberish journey. And then I realized well, I don't like that. So for me, I'm back to this more balanced place. And for you, I want you to set yourself up for success. That doesn't mean don't go out and go have the drinks, but ask yourself truthfully, you know the number of drinks you need or do not need. You know that number where you're like, okay, fuck it, let's keep going. Let's order all the food. Let's have all the shots. Let's do all the things. And you end up at Taco Bell at 2 a.m., right? Stop before that number. Have a plan so that you can have those 2 or 3 drinks. You can have a little buzz going, right? You have some soda water in between, or as I talk about all the time, there are so many amazing non-alcoholic beers, and there's wonderful mocktails. One of my clients, she's really trying to cut down on her drinking, so she went to the gym, and she's like, I'm kind of craving a happy hour. I go make a mocktail, and she was like, it was great. I found a non-alcoholic whiskey, so my brain thinks that I'm drinking, right? Now, she made it at home, but figure out, okay, I'm going to, say you drink Coors Light. You probably don't. I'm the only person that my friends and me are the only ones who do. Say I want to have 3, right? Say we're going to be at Coach House for, 3 hours. So I have 1 per hour. I drink really fast. I don't know why. It's just a thing, especially when it's like a cold beer. Anyway. So I'm going to say, okay, for every Coors Light, I'll have an athletic, and they have the light beer, which tastes exactly the same because let's face it, Coors Light is water anyways. And then I'm going to have an athletic every time I have a Coors Light. And then I might have a soda water too. Because here's the other thing is if you get a mocktail or an NA beer, no one usually knows, especially if you put it in a glass. No one knows. They just think you keep drinking. So not that you need to care about what other people think, but you know what I'm saying. So let's have a plan for that. And let's make sure that we're eating beforehand. We're going to have a high protein dinner, right? Your carbs and really your digestion in general and the burning of the food that you have slows down when you have alcohol in your system. Alcohol is considered a toxin, and the body sees a toxin and was like, whoa, halt everything else. I need to make sure that I'm getting this toxin out. So I like to think of it as, okay, I want to eat a high protein meal and maybe a little lower on the more fatty foods and the really carb heavy foods. People think if they're going to go out drinking that they should have a ton of carbs. I personally feel like more protein forward, but having a good blend of carbs, fiber rich carbs, and obviously some healthy fats is a great way to go into an event the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, a Christmas party, whatever that looks like. And, create that plan and stick to it, right? Because the next day is Thanksgiving. And I don't know about you, but I'm 42 years old and hangovers just are not as easy to get over. So that is number 2. Okay. So we're just going to create that plan. Be real with yourself, right? I love when my clients tell me, yeah, I need a plan for 9 drinks. Now, these are usually for events that are we're going from the Michigan game to the, Detroit game and, and we're going to have this tailgate. Listen, I don't judge. Do I help them eventually drink less? Yes. But like, be real with yourself. And then put that shit in MyFitnessPal if you're tracking. If you're tracking, you don't have to track. But if you're someone who's tracking, put in those drinks, including the non-alcohol drinks, because they still have calories in them. I did have an NA drink a couple weeks ago. I met up with some girlfriends and it had 10 calories and it was so good. I'm like, I need to recreate this. And then, you know, Thanksgiving, usually your gyms are going to be closed or they may only be open for a short period of time. I want you to check that out. If you do want to be active on the day of, now obviously you can do a lot of other things, but we need to check out, like, if my group fit class, like, what is the time? Make sure you set yourself up so that you are attending, meaning like if you have to reserve your spot, reserve it, or check the times when your gym is open. Because, you know, for a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I wanted to go to the gym, but then I showed up and I realized it was closed. It's like, well, don't realize, be proactive, right? Be proactive. And if you don't want to go to the gym, just get some movement in. Get some movement in that day, Wednesday included. Get some movement in, move your body, right? Don't just be like, well, I'm going to drink tonight, so I'm not going to do anything. No, we're going to just get some nice little movement in, but we're not going to punish ourselves, right? So that's the other thing that I want you guys to think about, is that we're not going to spend hours in the gym doing, you know, thinking that we're creating, yes, you are creating a larger calorie deficit, but it's not as large as you think, because one margarita will, you know, kind of will cross cancel 45 minutes on the treadmill. So just realize, like, it's very easy to add back those calories. So instead of punishing ourselves, we're just going to do our normal routine. And we're going to be proactive if we do want to be active on the day of Thanksgiving, to look at what the schedule is, where I'm going. Or another thing I love, because you do have family in town or friends you haven't seen, schedule a hike or a walk and a meetup, little coffee meetup. A lot of my guy friends from high school, still to this day, and I've been out of high school for over, I think it's 25 years next year. Yeah, it is. They still meet up for like a Thanksgiving football, like a turkey bowl. They still do it. And I think that's wonderful. They're active in the morning. They get to see each other. I know my best friend, when she comes to see her parents, they have a hike every Thanksgiving. They go and hike. And I think that's wonderful. And it's more than just getting movement in. You're getting movement in, but you're really connecting to people. I recently did a community meetup of people who are looking to just help the people in our communities with food and, you know, just equality in general. And we walked now with a torn, you guys don't know this, I have a partial tear in my ACL and my meniscus, as well as sprained my MCL. So I can't do a lot, which I'm going to have a whole episode on how I'm dealing with this, because I had walked Liberty that day and then walked with this community, and I was down for the count for the rest of the day. Anyway, I digress, but it was so fun still, even though I was like, oh my God, my knee is screaming to me. It was so fun to like talk to people. So that is something you can do as well. The other thing beforehand, because remember, this is all prep, right? Let's hydrate. Let's hydrate the day of. Obviously, let's hydrate throughout this whole time, especially if we're going out and having that little, you know, pre-Thanksgiving bender. Make sure we're hydrating, and then mentally, let's prep ourselves. Let's make sure that we have the game plan that I've talked about. Let's set an intention that this Thanksgiving, I enjoy the meal. I enjoy the time with my family, and I don't swing in either direction. I don't swing into the fuck it's, and I don't swing into the restriction. And for you, we need to figure out how that's going to look like, or what that is going to look like. So the intention, we set the intention. I want to walk into Thanksgiving balanced, and my goal is to stay in the gray. Stay in the gray. Stay in the gray. Say it with me. And in an effort to do that, I'm going to, and we'll talk about the following, walking into the meal, okay? You want to talk about the intention and then how we're going to get to that intention. Being very specific with your goals, but also I'm going to teach you a skill today that is going to also give you a little bit of leeway so that you say, okay, these are my non-negotiables, and these are the things I'd like to do, okay? And then these are the things I am going to skip. So hold your horses for that. You're a woman who makes it all happen. The deadlines, the deals, the demands. You're disciplined, capable, and results driven. But lately, it's taking a lot more effort to feel like yourself. You're still achieving. You're not thriving. And deep down, you know, success shouldn't cost your energy, your focus, or your peace. You don't need another plan. You need a strategy that matches your ambition. You've built a life around achievement, but no one ever taught you how to sustain it. Most high-performing women are operating with fractured systems. Great work ethic, but poor recovery. A strong body, but an overwhelmed mind. A plan for success, but not for longevity. You don't need more hustle. You need alignment. Your nervous system, nutrition, and training working with you, not against you. Hi, I'm Christina Hathaway, founder and CEO of The Mindset of Matter, a company built to help ambitious women master high performance from the inside out. I have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who spent over 15 years helping women reprogram their relationship with achievement, food, and their body that they lead from. I integrate clinical psychology, behavioral science, and performance physiology to create what most programs miss: a complete strategy for mental clarity, physical resilience, and sustainable success. This isn't just life coaching. This is human performance training for elite women, where therapy meets science and strategy meets embodiment. This Black Friday, I'm opening a limited time opportunity to work with me directly, offering $775 off our 6 months one-to-one mentorship. This is a personalized, high-touch transformation program where therapy meets training and nutrition. We'll rebuild your energy, your metabolism, and your mindset so you can lead with clarity, confidence, and strength that lasts. Or also $775 off our 6-month group mentorship with Coach Liv, with my direct oversight and involvement in monthly calls. Same science-backed framework delivered in a community for women who want accountability, precision, and power alongside other overachievers. There are no strict meal plans. There's no hustle culture. There is no one-size-fits-all routines. You'll get an evidence-based system that blends therapeutic insight to regulate your nervous system and rewire your relationship with yourself, nutrition strategy to fuel your focus, stabilize your energy, and restore metabolic health, performance training that builds strength, stamina, and resilience without sacrificing your recovery. Because structure isn't the enemy, misalignment is. When your body and mind are optimized, you don't just get results, you keep them. This is the blueprint for you to become unstoppable. This Black Friday offer is open for a limited time only. When it closes, it closes. No extensions, no exceptions. If you're ready to stop settling for functioning and start operating at your full potential, this is your power move. Because wellness isn't self-care, it's a performance strategy. And the women who understand that, they don't just succeed, they lead this standard. The Mindset of Matter, where therapy meets physiology, where high-achieving women come to lead stronger, think clearer, and live with unmatched power. During the meal, we are going to be proactive instead of reactive, okay? So the objective here is to stay centered with yourself, to be mindful with yourself while enjoying food, while enjoying people. If your family does have alcohol, my family doesn't, alcohol at a meal, drinking mindfully and creating balance in real time. But really, we're going to have a plan for that balance so that we can be successful in real time. So one of the things you guys have heard me say many times is this skill called the AAA. We're going to assess, ask, and act. And the assessment is looking at what is being served, right? How is it being served? Where is the food relative to where I sit? Focusing on even like being proactive and looking at the desserts more, so looking at everything being served. So we're just going to assess. We're going to assess, all of the options. We're going to assess where the food is. We're going to assess how it's going to be served. We're going to assess the drink situation. We're just going to take a step back and look, because oftentimes what we do is we just grab a plate and go. But let's just take a step back and look at everything. Okay. Then we're going to ask ourselves, what are our proteins, right? Obviously turkey, duh. Maybe you have a ham, right? What are our proteins? Then what are our colors? You might have a green bean casserole, sweet potatoes. You might have cranberry sauce. You might have carrots, like a sweetened carrot. What are my colors? Okay. And then next question, what are my love foods? Now, it's funny because my dad's celebration of life is actually that weekend. So my sister's hosting Thanksgiving, and she sent a list of what she's making. And I was like, I was telling Mark, I go, not me just eating turkey and mac and cheese, right? Because there's no mashed potatoes being served at this meal. Teresita, if you're listening, we need mashed potatoes. That's my sister. So there's my love foods are mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, and that's it. I might have like some pumpkin pie, maybe. Now at my mom's house, it's the tamales, or I'm sorry, not the tamales, the enchiladas that she makes, but she's not making them. So unless she surprises us, then that's a different story. But what are your love foods? And just sticking to those love foods and creating that plate around this skill. So the act is putting the shit on your plate. And for your love foods, you can start with like a small amount. So say that you're going to your in-laws or you're going somewhere that you don't really know how things are going to taste. Now I've talked about, so my husband's sister's in-laws, so her husband's parents, they don't know how to cook. And when we used to go to Pittsburgh, because my in-laws have since moved to South Carolina, we had to go to his parents' house. And we knew that it was going to be the shittiest meal. And it was. So I just made very small portions of things. Now, of course, you're probably saying, Christina, what about boundaries? You know the situation. I controlled what I could control without pissing everyone off, right? So if you don't really know how things are going to taste, and you're like, well, I love mac and cheese, but I don't know if I'm going to love this mac and cheese, just make it a small portion, right? And eat your protein first, then your colors, then your love foods. And then if you want more love foods, take a little break, go back and get some more, right? Just portion control, mindful portions. And you're going to feel satisfied because you ate the foods that you wanted to eat. You're not going to feel overly full because you created this plate that is mindful of the portions. And then again, if you're like, oh, I really loved that love food, go get a little bit more. We're not restricting. Okay. Now, in the meal itself, we also want to pause halfway through. So I want you to think about your plate as if you have this line down the center. And halfway through, you could even make the line if you'd like. I used to be the girl who didn't like her food to touch. So my mom gave me like a plate that was separated. So pausing. So think about a line down the center of your plate. And halfway through, we're just going to take a pause. A 2-minute timeout is what we call it in my program. And you're just going to kind of assess, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is just sickly full, and 8 to 9 is the full where I've overdone it. Where am I? And I want you actually to think of it between 3 and 8, because 1 and 2 is like ravenous. 9 and 10 is like grossly full. So 3 to 8, right? Now, as we're eating, we're kind of going up this continuum. So during this 2-minute timeout, where are we? Are we still a 5? So we're still like eating and we're still kind of hungry, but we're not full. Or are we at a 6 where we're about 75% to our fullness? Or are we at a 7? We're full. We could take a few more bites, but it might make us a bit uncomfortable, which is your 8. So during that 2-minute timeout, I want you to assess, where am I on that continuum? And then look at what you have left and decide, okay, I'm going to have a few bites. I want you guys to understand it's just bites between a 6, a 7, and an 8. 3 to 5 bites between a 6 and a 7. 3 to 5 bites between a 7 and 8. How many bites? And have your bites mindfully, slow it down. We don't have to like, shove those 3 to 5 bites in our mouth at once. Have those bites and reassess and see where you're at. I didn't tell you not to eat. I just told you to take a little chill pill, right? And then if you are full, and I talked about the family pushers, right, that my mother is, who's like, did you eat enough, Christina? Or you didn't eat anything, Christina? Like, thank you. Everything was amazing. I'm really full. Thank you. you know, have your one liner like, oh, wow, no, that was such a great meal. I'm so full. Like, that was the best turkey I've ever had. You know, fluff them up a little bit. And here's a pro tip, leftovers, right? This is where a lot of my clients get caught up, is leftovers. Bring your own container. Bring your own container that is a small little something, right? So that you control the portions that come in that container. Because you and I both know that your mother is going to give you the whole sleeve of mac and cheese because she knows you love mac and cheese. She knows it's your love food. But do you need a sleeve, like the whole sheet pan? No, you don't. Okay. Also, you can make mac and cheese any time of the year. You don't have to wait until Thanksgiving. Just bring that little Ziploc or Tupperware that you want to bring, and that's it. Like, oh no, I brought my own containers. I'll grab some stuff and take it with me. Pro tip. Okay? Okay. So that is during the meal. Now, come back to what we were talking about before. My intention is set to have this balance. What am I going to do? Now, you may not do everything that I've talked about here. You may even have your own plan, but I want you to be specific, right? When I sit down, I will X, Y, and Z, right? After the meal, I will X, Y, Z. And I'm going to talk about after the meal after this. Setting the intention and then an implementation kind of skill or a plan is incredibly important because people will be like, oh, I'm going to have a balanced meal. Well, what the hell does that mean? Are you going to stand on one foot and eat? Like no. Okay. So being specific with your intentions and then having an implementation plan of how I am going to be successful with that intention, right? This is huge. This is huge for you all, especially for those of you, like we talked about in the beginning, that struggle with that perfectionistic failure mindset. Okay. Living in the gray, having balance, being able to go to events like Thanksgiving dinner is a part of your life. But a lot of you, when you go into a calorie deficit or you've been in a calorie deficit for years, you don't think that way. And so you think you're in a calorie deficit for this entire year, but this perfect fail mindset really has kept you at maintenance. What does that mean? You think you're in a deficit, but your eating patterns keep you maintaining or gaining weight. And like I said, this Thanksgiving weekend oftentimes is a catalyst for this fuck it, all or nothing mentality throughout the rest of the year. So if we can be intentional and build confidence in ourselves during this meal and this weekend, we should have a better time getting through the rest of the holidays. Okay, so after the meal, we are going to reset, right? We're not going to repent. We're not going to be repulsed. We're not going to, return or restrict. Look at all those R's. We're just going to reset. And what do I mean by reset? We're going to say, that was great. Another wonderful Thanksgiving dinner. Loved it. And say, your family watches football. Great. Sit down, watch a game. For me, I like to do a walk after a meal, especially a big meal. And so I'll get my family to go out for a walk, especially because normally I bring the dogs and I will have the dogs with us for Thanksgiving. So we'll go out, we'll walk around. I love my sister's neighborhood. It's so beautiful. So I'll be happy to go walk around. You could play a game with your family. You could even get active with your family, go throw the ball around with your pet or play football in the backyard, right? Now, we're not doing that to burn off calories. We're doing it to get our food digesting and moving around. And sometimes that could be bad. It's funny. My client said the other day, she goes, oh, this walk was so beautiful, but it was really good for my digestion too. Wish there was a bathroom around. I've had walks like that. It's pretty hilarious. So whatever it is you want to do it, right? As long as the intentions are authentic and respectful to you. Okay. Hydrate, of course, as I talked about, have that light movement and go home, right? Once you're done, go home. If You eat at 2 p.m. and you need to have another meal later that day, great. Have that other meal. But be intentional with that meal as well. Come back to the way you normally eat. If you like to have a protein, a fibrous carb, and some veggies, eat that meal. If you like to be like me, which I don't have meals like that, I kind of create really yummy high protein meals. I have like a not BLT, excuse me, Philly cheesesteak mac and cheese I might make that, right? I might make some of the Costco chicken chunks in the air fryer and have it with some barbecue sauce. Eat, okay? The other thing is the next day, right? If, say that you didn't eat when you got home because you were still full, that might happen, you guys. You may be full for the rest of the day. But be real with your hunger cues, okay? Don't say, I need to be full because I overdid it. If you are hungry later, eat. But say that you don't, okay? We're going to eat breakfast the next morning. We're not going to skip anything. We're going to, again, have the protein, have the fiber, and create that normal meal that we normally would have. Now, obviously, if you have some leftovers that you want to throw in there, great. We love that. And speaking of leftovers, we're just going to eat them mindfully. You know, I love turkey sandwiches, making a turkey sandwich and even putting like the cranberry sauce. Mark loves like a little Thanksgiving turkey sandwich. I might have some of the mac and cheese with my turkey sandwich as a side, right? Just be mindful. Like, if you want it, have it, but you don't have to eat all of it at once. I like to think of it, it's like if you really love something, like let's try to keep it for a couple of days so I can continue to enjoy it, right? And again, if you've taken the mindful portion, then it should be okay, right? It should be okay. So the other thing you can do, I just want to look at my notes here for leftovers. So keep what you want, not everything offered. We already talked about that. Freeze what you'd like to enjoy later or create balanced meals from them. Okay. So like say that we do the mac and cheese, we might put some turkey on top of that. Or if we've already ate the turkey, we might add a protein source to that. Maybe some chicken, some seasoned meat, something like that, right? Avoid eating to clean the fridge out. Like I got to eat all these. I feel like I have to eat all of these leftovers to get them out of the house. No. If you need something to get out of the house and you don't want it there, then throw it out. Okay. And then ask yourself, would I choose this tomorrow if it wasn't a Thanksgiving food? Great question. This is why I read my notes. I've not been reading my notes this whole time. So let me repeat that. Ask yourself, would I choose this tomorrow if it wasn't a Thanksgiving food? This goes back to the scarcity mindset that we think, oh my God, I'm not going to have this again until next Thanksgiving. You can have turkey anytime you want. They sell them in the grocery store. I know, crazy. You can have turkey whenever you want. You can have mac and cheese. You can make it. I have mac and cheese like once a week. And so that question is, am I putting this food on a pedestal because of this time of year? And is that what is influencing me to want to eat it? That is a scarcity mindset. If you want to eat it because you enjoy it and you do have it, great. But really be clear about what, again, our intention is behind our behavior or our soon-to-be behavior. Okay. So I told you I was going to teach you a little skill today that you can use anywhere. Now, this skill I recently came upon, and I was like, this is another way to explain my minimums, to explain my boombox theory, if you guys have been OGs. And what it's called is the must, nice, skip framework. The must, nice, skip framework is so important in so many areas. I introduced this to my mindset and menopause clients, and one of the gals goes, I could use this for my, housework. I'm like, exactly. That's a lot of these things that I teach you. We take diet and exercise out and we put in, work structure. We put in work-life balance. We put in house cleaning, whatever it is, right? So the must part of this, and we'll want to do this really before we walk into anything. So Wednesday would be a good time to do this. How do I want to be over the next 4.5 days? Right? So, and how do I want to, what goals do I want to achieve in regards to my food, in regards to my mindset, my movement, my socializing? So your musts are your non-negotiables. So for food, I'm going to have protein in every single meal. I'm going to walk at least 2 miles each morning, and I'm going to connect with these 3 people over the next 4 days, right? I must connect with these 3 people. Now, obviously, connecting could be over the phone. It could be in person, right? For mindset, I'm going to do a 10-minute meditation every morning. That's my musts. What is in your nice category is kind of the things that would be nice to do, but are a little bit higher, or like maybe require more time and energy and attention than your musts. And your nice is like, it'd be nice to get 2 strength training workouts in over the next 4 days. It would be nice to hit my calorie goals every day, right? It would be nice to go to this person's party, right? It would be nice to end the day, get to bed by 8:30 every day, okay? So those are your nice. Then your skips. And this is really great for the holiday season, because you can say, okay, while during my normal day-to-day, I like to work out for 45 minutes every day, I'm going to skip that. And for my strength training workouts, I'm going to use the time crunch workouts in the Mindset of Movement on-demand app. That is, I'm going to skip the 45 minutes and I'm going to do the time crunch instead, right? Or say that you have a 45-minute workout, you say, okay, I'm going to skip the accessory work and I'm only going to focus on the compound movements. So like the major lifts at the beginning. If you have someone writing your workouts and they know what the fuck they're doing, then it should be structured in that way. You could say, I'm going to skip having pumpkin pie every day, but a must is to have at least 1 slice during the next 4 days, right? I'm going to skip drinking every other day other than Wednesday night, right? I'm just going to drink soda water or mocktails or NA drinks for the rest of the weekend. So I want you guys to write that down. Create that must, nice, skip framework for yourself around Thanksgiving and see how it works. Because again, this allows you to live in that gray. Because how did we start this conversation? The biggest struggle that I see from my clients is they have this very rigid ways of thinking that make them feel fucking terrible because they can't uphold the way that they want to act. And when they can't do that, they feel like they have no other fucking option. There's thousands of options, but you've told yourself, my worth it only lies within this rigidity. And anytime there's a strike at my worth, meaning I cannot uphold the rigidity, I have a strike towards my worthlessness. And that needs to change. So this framework helps you to live in the gray, to have several options, and to give you permission to skip the things that aren't going to serve you during this time. So I hope that you guys, if you do this, I'd love for you to comment below or like send me a DM on Instagram, Mindset of Matter Coaching. If you guys aren't following, I'd love a follow. We have a lot of clips from the show. We have a lot, like I come on stories and we talk a lot about the program itself. We are currently running our Black Friday deals. You'll learn more about that. We also are in the middle of our Healthy Holidays Challenge, which I'm really excited about. Coach Liv is running. So you're always going to get information from our Instagram page. Obviously, I try to share it here too. So that's that, right? I want you to have the balance, that the food was enough. You can trust your body with telling you that it's enough. You can hold this place for feeling nourished and having, a satisfied, pleasurable meal all at the same time versus I blew it, right? Versus I'll have to restrict tomorrow versus, F it, I'm just going to let go for the rest of the holidays. We don't need to do that anymore. We create balance. Balance really is an identity shift. And it takes you beyond this like checklist, am I good, am I bad mentality. And it teaches you how to carry yourself through these obstacles, right? And Thanksgiving can be an obstacle for you. And it's not going to be perfect. That's the point. We learn from it. We practice more of it. You guys if this is all new to you, you're living in what we call the conscious incompetence of this, you know, I really struggle with that perfect fill thinking, and it causes me to overdo it. And I'm tired of doing that. What do I do? You've just figured out that this is a problem for you. So then we move you into conscious competence, meaning I'm going to have a whole episode on this. Conscious competence, where we are practicing. And you're going to mess up. You're going to fumble the bag for a few times. Okay? That's okay. We just reassess. So I am hopeful for everyone. These skills have helped all of my clients in a variety of different ways. I use the AAA for Super Bowl parties, any sort of like spread that you have, weddings, and they come back, they're like, oh my gosh, that was so simple. And I was able to do it. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll have a whole episode on gratitude, and I am just so thankful for this community. We are small but mighty, and I thank you guys for allowing me to guide you in these situations that have been really emotionally draining obstacles for you. So thank you again, guys. If you haven't already, remember, we are here not just to provide this information for you, but we have a whole coaching program where everything that I talk about on here, we adapt to your specific needs, whether it's in our one-to-one, very hands-on, high-touch coaching program or our community-based group coaching program. There is still an aspect of customization to what we do. You'll be able to work through your mindset struggles. Again, we have once a year Black Friday deals for a 6-month commitment to either program. One-to-one coaching goes through me and Coach Liv. Coach Liv runs the group coaching program. So if you guys are interested in that, this is the perfect time of year to do so. And you can look at the Clarity Call notes below. And the notes below for the Clarity Call sign up link. And you get to talk to me. We are going to have a convo, you and I. Everyone's always like, oh, I didn't expect you to be on the call. I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to pay someone to do it. So I do it. Other than that, y'all have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, we do not have to attend everything. We do not have to be shit-faced the entire weekend. We do not have to eat all of the foods. We can just be balanced and be good. So I will leave you with that and this. Don't forget that what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye-bye.